Thanks, I'm Joyce for tonight's broadcast. All right, on this Sunday night, going into Monday, chaos week, from what it feels like. Who knows what's going to happen? China might just have a temper tantrum for the rest of the week. And, somebody's got to do it. So I heard the word Harvard the other day, so it's like, or today. It's like that, talk about the axis of evil. It's been a while since I connected to the universities. Gee, I wonder why. Yeah, it's like going to a pit of darkness, basically. Higher education or higher demonic connections, whatever works for you, right? It might be intellectually connected to it, but there's also a demonic connection there too. So it's amazing what you can attract yourself to that these days. Okay, so Harvard connection, planet chaos, basically our chaotic timeline. Going to the main timeline to just whatever the main timeline has to say. Obviously, the main timeline is basically our main story, our main reality. It's our, it controls everything. So we just work around it the best we can. And all the elves, elf energies, I'm going to tap into. It's going to show an elf being that's human, but I don't know. YouTube right now, I'll probably say it's harassment or something. So I'm just going to stay away from that. So, yeah, YouTube is just a piece of junk. But, nobody's perfect. When you sell yourself out, YouTube sold itself out a long time ago. You have Harvard graduates there that say they're very successful. Somebody demonic energies that sold themselves to, no problem, no judgment there. But that's pretty much what's going on there. They call it success. Yeah. And they get trapped here and incarnate over and over again because of their successful lifetime here. So I hope it was all worth it. Yeah, I bet it was. Success has another ring to it, apparently. Wouldn't know that. Harvard energies, because they plan a lot of the timelines here. I was connected to some of the Massachusetts energy, and there's still a lot of witchcraft there, and it's not necessarily the witches, meaning that there's a dark Illuminati energy there that's obviously still there. People say it's not there. The elites don't exist, but I guess they haven't been to Massachusetts. I haven't been there physically, but I can feel it, and it's not good. That's okay. None of it's real anyway, right? I'm sure it's not. All right, we're on Rumble also, live streaming. So if you want to support that channel, or just in case this one gets taken down or anything, we have the Telegram. Also, just in case, who knows? I can spin your words around here and all that. Just gotta play it vanilla. The best of your ability. Best of your ability here. Gotta love it. Gotta love communist reality we're in right now. So that Harvard guys, that's so bad. Well, the reason I'm connecting to it is because they're controlling our timeline, our reality. Like I said, there's a lot of that have higher education. A lot of them have sold themselves out. And they're part of our news organizations and all of that. So, not that I'm going there, but just visiting. That's all. Astral visiting. You might have an astral visit. That's not very friendly. Gotta love it. That's okay. None of this is real, right? I'm sure it's not. Wrong place. Okay. I'm talking counter prep sessions. We have the schedule here. We have the shop here. I'm on. I forget where I'm at. I'm somewhere in July. At the end of July, same situation here. I have the webinar, social network, behind the scenes. And good old Harvard. So we'll go into the den of the beast. So I kind of did a statue here, and it felt kind of demonic. So I posted it on the thumbnail just because it does not feel good at all. Gotta love it. So if anything is attacking you, it's that. I didn't know about this one. Yeah, it doesn't look good either. None of this stuff looks good. Yeah, they weave all this stuff. None of that doesn't look like a Greek. I didn't even know. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Of course, I've looked at this stuff before, but yeah, that looks very Greek. Actually, looks very Atlantean. Lovely, but this is just not good at all. And it's funny how it's Springfield, and that's connected to The Simpsons, which I didn't realize. Springfield, Massachusetts. I didn't really make that connection. Yeah, so it makes sense. How The Simpsons is kind of like, because you have The Simpsons, Springfield, and there's an energy there with The Simpsons of like controlling our reality. So it does have some, it is doing something. O.J. Simpson, but The Simpsons. There, it is doing something for Springfield. And you have Springfield, Massachusetts here. So it's obviously there's some kind of timeline connection that's going on there. Of course, yeah, he's got some issues going on there too. So, yuck, I'm gonna turn that off. So yeah, we're just surrounded by love, as you can see. Yeah, that's funny how they call it success. Sure, whatever your definition is of that. So, at least in some cases you're not sold your soul out, but in some cases, some people do. Whatever works for you. Then you're stuck on that for a long time. Not just this lifetime, but next lifetime, next lifetime, next lifetime, next lifetime, until you're ready to let go of that. I mean, I knew somebody growing up that wanted to sell himself out, and he pretty much did. So I'm not going to go into that. No thanks. So, all right. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, it's this like a chaotic week. I guess China's just going to be crying all week. We'll see. Yeah, not to say our government's much better. It's like, lucky us, huh? It's probably the Fuji Islands that's probably the place to be. No television, no internet, just away from all of it. But anyway, this is where the war is, so here we are. So, okay, all right. Okay, here we go. Blessings. Harvard, main timeline, and elves. Yeah, I don't have an image of the elf people, but we'll just kind of go with it. So, all right. At least I have an idea what it's going to be. Okay, all right. Harvard energy, yikes. So your protections. It's not me attacking anybody, it's them. Yeah. Talk about opening up the lower dimensions. But we're going to explore it for positive reasons, some form or another. So, all right, blessings. Here we go. Yeah. There's some Anunnaki energy there. It's just narcissism energy there. Controlling society energy there. Lovely. Of course, Harvard, they have the fraternities. I forget the name of them. Obviously, none of them are good. Not really. Most of them aren't. At least, of course, Yale has Skull and Bones. Yeah. Wish they made it popular. Until they do the same thing they did the Georgia Guidestones and just tear it down. Which they might do one day, which makes it worse. But anyway. Okay, all right. Blessings. Here we go. Brings you consciousness of the Harvard energies uh, to give you understanding. Some, souls, humans want to, yes, be successful, so they sell themselves out, not realize what kind of contracts that they're signing for themselves, kind of like making a deal with the devil. But they don't realize it until later in life. So they go about it innocently, but isn't that how it works? So these contracts with all these universities have a way of pulling people, especially the smart ones, so they can manipulate their energies. So obviously, the smarter they are, the more naive they can be at the same time. So as many of you are going to more of a spiritual enhancement, you can see this darkness, and eventually for it to come to light. But there's so much darkness there; it's hard for it to find light at this time. Harvard is very connected to Egyptian energies, but also English. Oxford, actually, it's like the United States version of Oxford, basically the minds of mind control. And so they continue their studies of basically your British invasion goes through your Harvard. Of course, many of you that are going more higher dimension can see these things and heal, but not the easiest. It has to open up vortexes you might not want to see, but realize this has to be healed eventually. I mean, for your earth to move on, it has to, it has to become part of known consciousness, meaning you'll have to dive into it one of these days. There's a lot of soul trappings there, basically trap a soul and to control it. So they don't always, those, especially those that are high intelligence, aren't spiritually developed usually. They usually work through their mind, they're not working through their heart, so that's when they get pulled into it. Eventually, they figure out they have a soul. A lot of them don't even realize that. They just use their mind all the time. And they use their heart to a certain level. They're always going into their mind. And that's how the hive mind works. They get new ideas how to manipulate reality. And there's an archon energy that does work there deeply. But what about Harvard is what's underneath it. What's on the surface obviously is not the best vibrations, but also had a lot of your elites planted the seeds of controlling society, which they were successful in doing so. Once again, your soul development is to heal places like this, to heal the vortexes there, which are many. Well, they know humanity is ignorant, so, but not everybody is. But that is where you say one of the devil realms are. Yeah, they call it higher education, but it's more like higher controlling society. It's not for everybody. For those that have an understanding and know how to protect themselves, that's where the battle is. A lot of these universities, at least on an energy level, not necessarily on a physical level, because you won't get anywhere with that. But you see the vortexes, the stargates that are there, which are several. They're not seen physically, but they have entered. Basically, they have portals where people walk into, and unwilling. There's just innocent people walking in, kind of an energy trap. It shows us as the ignorance of society. Now, others are aware of it, especially part of the secret societies. They're fully aware of it and know exactly what they're doing. That's why they wear those rings. They wear that kind of secret society jewelry, because it shows that they have mastered that realm. Doesn't mean they've sold themselves out. They might have at first, but then they awaken. But it's not necessarily the best energy. But when they wear like the custom rings and the custom jewelry from secret societies as fraternities, that shows not all. This more of the higher fraternities. Those that are higher ranking of that are fully aware of what's happening. Maybe not to all extent, but they know they're connected to some kind of magic to control society. The chaos realm is basically to keep society unaware of itself. So that's their job, is to keep society confused. Even like some of the math is there to keep people confused. You see, your financial district can keep people confused. Your military, your governments keep people confused. Notice how government's so deep, because it's like a maze. Same thing, your financial districts, same as your cities, they're kind of a maze too. You go into your city, you get lost, It's like a forest, a concrete forest. Even forests themselves can get you lost. So there's another chaotic energy. Because if you go into a forest, shouldn't you be able to connect with nature and find your way out? And that's not always the case, now is it? So it shows that chaos energy is on different levels. We'll deal with that. Blessings. Greetings to you. We are the energies of your main timeline. It's up to you, the human, to decide where your life goes, how you treat it. But yes, you did have agreements to where your life is going, but it can get better if you want it to, but you have to hold on. Someone to control the reality, they want this to happen, that to happen. And sometimes that works, but the earth has a story. It has a roadmap. And it can't always give you what you want. At least not at that moment. It can't happen eventually, but it can have detours, and you can detour yourself out of those detours. But some that aren't powerful enough to get exactly what they want. Some of you are working towards it, but you have to be careful of that, because sometimes if you do get what you want, you can easily sell yourself out. So sometimes when you don't get what you want, it's like, maybe it's best I just wait. Because you can get what you want, but your identity is now gone. So the main timeline is of a trickster frequency connected to. It's not all tricksters, but there are trickster beings there. Well, because they want to show you gold. They want you to see. They want you to they dangle things in front of you to manifest that might not be of your best interest. Yes, to go with the flow is the most healthy part. Of course, having goals is good. Of course, having what you want, but also patience plays a big role. Obviously, some have difficulties with that. Some already sold themselves out and don't even realize it. Some have wealth and sold themselves out, and they're not aware of their contract yet. Eventually, they realize their contract, then they become in denial of it, and they try to fight it and break themselves free. And it's not always the case. You have to go with the flow once you sign up for something like that. So obviously being kind of cryptic on that timeline, but there are contracts, some that they want wealth, they want a higher achievement, but then they lose a lot too with it. So someone to have the spiritual cake, they want their cake and eat it. They want their spiritual development and the wealth also at the same time. And it doesn't always sit together. They can to a certain level, but it's better if it happens organically. Some that want it now obviously still have a lot to learn, but just going with the flow is healthier for you, but you can do whatever you want. You can make your life easier or you can make it harder. Obviously, life doesn't make it easy because there are agendas. There are beings always trying to program humans. It's almost like having your everyday life, even if you don't have nobody. It's almost like you have Jehovah's Witnesses knocking at your door all the time. There's like beings around you. It's like, hey, don't you want to do this? Don't you want to do that? They're trying to get your attention and pull you into timelines that you don't need to be a part of. Of course, you don't see them, but you can kind of feel them. You feel the agendas that are going on, and that's what makes it more frustrating. What makes it even more frustrating is when beings do sell themselves out when they didn't have to. Like, if you waited a little bit longer, things would have changed, but they decided not to. So obviously, we're speaking more of a cryptic way, but some of you have an understanding. Your main timeline is a road, it's a highway. It's not always going to be easily to make itself known. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to explain itself. It is what it is, as you would say on your world. It's an agreement that you made to be on this incarnation. You don't have to like it, but it is part of the roadmap of reality. Many of you came here, yes, to assist others, and that's a lot of hardship that comes with that. Is that yes, many of you are attracted to this world incarnate because if you just ignored this world in spirit, it would cause you more harm, and others would have more harm also. But you being here softens the blow of this reality. So you came here to make it easy for yourself and others, not just for yourself though. You love it for others. It's unselfishness, but some of it's selfish. It's just this world, as you can see, gets pulled down to the lower realms very easily. So you incarnate here to keep it from being devoured. And you see how easy it is to get pulled into the lower depths. And it has done that through the dark ages and so on. So you came here to, there is a form of a digital dark age here. Some of your celebrities aren't really real people. They're just orchestrating your reality. Yes, they look so real, but are they? Does it matter? Not really. But if you feel like they might look real, they might talk real, you might be able to touch them, but is it real? Does it matter? Well, if you feel like it's probably a program in this reality to steer this earth, it most likely is. Obviously, your average person tap into that, they're just not there yet to see that. But of course, when you start seeing the anomalies that are here, obviously, yeah, don't try to sell it to humanity. There's no point in it. But how you see your reality is what matters. How you don't have to sell it to anybody. But if you see it as like an AI construction, because part of it is, not all of it is. Holographic people do exist. So holographic people, a lot of them are soulless. Well, they have some kind of soul. There's some kind of presence there. Even there's consciousness to everything. It might not be the consciousness that you're looking for. It might not be an in-depth consciousness, but there is something there. It might be a soulless consciousness, meaning there's not a whole lot there, but it's not always intended to be. It gets complicated. But as you see more of this, if you see more of these holographic souls here, that means you're actually breaking out of this realm. And of course, that's where you feel those manipulating your society. You feel it more and more and more. So that's part of your disclosure. Of course, there's positive and negatives to everything. Greetings to you. We are the elves. Blessings. Some of us, yes, have incarnated into your world to bring music into your reality. We don't have to necessarily show who we are connected to, because, of course, most likely, if they need to know, they will know. But some of them are a form of celebrity. Elves, some elf people are trying to make to raise the vibrations, but also to show their talent. Basically, they see how difficult it is here on your realm. If they can make it here, they can make it anywhere. It's not for ego purposes, but basically here to elevate the frequency, especially those that are musicians. So obviously in the Agartha, it's easier to be yourself because there's magic everywhere. Obviously, even there are agendas, of course, but you can still recognize your magic and just be you. In this society, you do your magic here and you're mocked by it and you're seen as evil and all these things. And humans have a long ways to go to connect to the Agarthian realms. But many of you incarnate from the Agarthian realms to make it easier for humans to connect more to their magic, their power. And so obviously it's like pushing a boulder up a mountain. And some humans, of course, are so disconnected from their powers. They want their powers back, but they wanted fame and fortune, so they deactivated a lot of their abilities. So there's different ways of having your magic come in. Parts of you have, for your magic to be here, you have to have some parts of you that are, you can't be perfect. Let's put it that way. Has to be some flaw energy. It's not a bad thing. It just shows you're not perfect. Some have been giants here, so they kind of look like a giant person. It's like you show some of your characteristics here. And of course, you have alien beings here to assist you to the best of their ability through all of you to a certain level. So recognizing your elf, magic elf abilities, of just being you. And eventually they'll have elf societies in your world. I don't believe they've been activated fully yet, but that'd be funny. We're just an elf group. Of course, there's a fairy groups too. You can see the fairies already in your media. And some fairies can be so narcissistic. Well, at least they own it. They're difficult in Agartha and they're difficult here. They take it everywhere. Some of them, fairies are known to be attracted to reptilian people. Not always, but a lot of them are. The elf beings are just here to, yes, those that are here to bring their music in or art of some kind, to elevate the frequencies, to connect you to your Garthian realm, to help a lot of this, to speed things up to a certain level. Obviously, humans are always pushing back. They don't believe in this, they don't believe in that. They're so shut down, they don't know what to do with themselves. It's easier just to be a human without any abilities. They obviously do have abilities, but they're not quite there to connect to basically a world without chaos. Of course, in Agartha, there is a lot of chaos there, not as much as your realm. Well, because humans, beings in the Agarthian realms, are just more connected to their abilities. They see their magic on all different levels. Maybe not all of them, but magic is normal there. Here, it's forbidden. It's being used, but it's forbidden. Obviously, black magic is used all the time by those that are dark sorcerers and all that. Yes, Massachusetts has a lot of that. There's also a lot of dark dragons there in Massachusetts. It's a human experience. I mean, humans have to kind of go through the gaudy side of it eventually to say, oh, by the way, see those demonic energies over there? It's time to cast them, send them home. Your world's not ready for that just yet. And so they call them teachers. Who knew? Some of them are. Some of them are come from the lower dimensions of Agartha, become university teachers, and keep humans shut down. But that's the lessons here. Oxford University, yes, does not have the best vibrations around it. That's a lot of Illuminati energies there. Of course, it's denied that they exist, but you see their teachings. They see how they see the mentality of humanity. Who's teaching this world anyway? Who's the main? What is universities, schools? Who is involved with that exactly? Those are the ones controlling your reality, of course. At least those are the ones that create those curriculums. We're talking about the founders of it, and those that are continuing on part of it, because obviously the families of those that create those curriculums obviously want to live the nice lifestyle, which they do. But they know what they're part of. They feel like they're helping humanity. You can say technically they are, but obviously there's more to reality than they are revealing. But that's why many of you are here for, to go against society, not be afraid of it. Which many of you are not. But you're getting used to being radical, which is good. Well, radical in a good way. Radical in a way where you don't have to be controlled by its timeline anymore. And obviously, you feel the timeline kind of fighting you every once in a while because it wants you to be complacent to it. But you just got to be yourself, of course. So, blessings.